And I'm just curious as to whether or not there's a way to try and extend single name equity liquidity, because actually, frankly, the European marketplace is still lagging behind, despite huge advances, what we see in that concentrated 6 or 7 hour window of the US trading day.
Yeah, so I think this is a discussion we sometimes had when we were discussing products to list in Singapore as well.
Okay.
And if we were looking at products that were more US focused and how to get people to come in and start looking and driving volume. And none of it was ever easy, because you often have, if you're looking at, and maybe Europe's the same, but if you're looking at what's happening in Singapore, a lot of the prop firms that we would potentially talk to about help us to provide liquidity in the first early stages of the market, they were not necessarily comfortable with providing liquidity in a market where the underlying equity was not open. So they didn't want to be able to, they don't want to be able to hold that risk.
Yeah.
If it's not suitably liquid and they can't find a place to offload that risk and they're going to hold on to the risk, they're not comfortable in doing that.
Understandable.
And also, I think a lot of the prop firms in Asia are focused on Asian exchanges and understanding what's happening in the Asian market. So even when we would see a global prop firm, it always seemed that when they had the Asian arm, which makes sense, it focused on the Asian exchanges. So you weren't having somebody in New York focusing on Asian exchanges. So I think that could be part of what you're seeing. And maybe when we're looking at what's happening in New York, and you say it could just be demand, interest, people, America's big. Like when it comes down to it, it is just big. And there's lots of asset managers, lots of investment funds. There's a lot of funds that sit there and want to be able to get exposure to that.
Oh, absolutely.
And when you have that, and I think there is sometimes something to be said about having a shorter time frame. And that is an argument we have people make about some of our contracts as well. But it's quite hard because we do know that there are people in Asia that want to continue to trade. So even our cotton markets say open on Sunday evening US time.
Right.
And some people don't always like that because they feel that they have to work on Sunday evening.
Yeah.
And there's not always enough liquidity in that time frame. But we still have people globally trading and pricing in that market. And you do. And this is, again, we provide price transparency. So it's a fine balance in playing around with it. And none of it's ever going to be perfect. So we see.